We're back.
I got tired of saying it.
Yeah, another episode at
And
Yerba
holy
worldwide.
shit, do things get
Yeah,
crazier.
yeah.
We thought, well, what was the first thing that happened? I think it was like the scare of World War III, and then the Corona hit, and
So,
now we have,
so all this happened, and then we reached May.
yeah,
There was all this stuff going on, and then May happened.
there's nationwide protests.
And
Uh,
it kind of bums me out because May's my birth month. So normally, traditionally, I'm pretty excited about May, but yeah, May was not one for the. This one was one for the
My
books.
birthday. Oh, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Well, on May 25th, 2020, George Floyd got shot in Minneapolis. He was put in a chokehold until he died, and the rest is history from there. Everything has escalated, erupted, and exploded into a worldwide movement, and it is amazing. It is amazing to see how fast these protests exploded, how people rallied, how many people started speaking up, how many issues were addressed, how many issues are still currently being addressed. Just a whole world came from this one man's death. But uh, it's not the first time that this has happened, but it's the one that, for whatever reason, this is the one that broke the camel's back, right? This is the one
Yeah,
where everybody was like, fuck, enough, like, enough of this shit.
which is true. I wonder what conditions made this right.
Well, what do you think?
Probably the pandemic for sure. Everyone's at home.
Yeah.
Everyone's online.
Yeah.
Um, and like I think I think people that beforehand were occupied with other stuff in the real world. I mean, within their personal life,
Sure.
uh, got put to the side because most people, I don't know, were home. So when this happened, more people got to witness it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people were definitely following it closer, getting updates. Well, everybody's at the house, everybody's fucking not working. Well, when this whole thing happened, I feel like everything was sort of not 100%, but the gears were turning to, just everything getting a little more normal than it had in the past couple months.
Yeah, and also probably like beforehand, there's already protests against the in home quarantine, whatever. The people are already getting fed up with being home, so there's already
Shelter in place.
yeah. So people are already protesting about that, and then the George Floyd murder happened,
Hmm.
and then it just picked up wind pretty easily. I think.
Yeah, it gained fucking huge velocity. It kind of just like when we started, like I said earlier, just everything spiraled, and
Yeah, the same
I
day.
agree
The
with
same
you.
day it blew up on Twitter. I
Yeah,
think.
dude. I mean, again, I reiterate, it's not the first time. I know, again, it's not the very first time that this has happened, and it's not the first time people have protested, right?
What
Like,
do
do
you
you remember
mean?
when Oscar Grant got killed?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so there's definitely been other movements, but this is the only one, not the only one, but the most recent one that fucking took the world by storm. I mean, don't get it
Yeah,
fucked
there's
up. Other places in
protests
the
in
world,
fucking UK
yeah,
right now. Chaz
yeah,
in Seattle. Um, SF went crazy.
all 50 states went crazy.
Yeah, everybody's up in arms, dude.
Yeah, yeah. People, good for hell yeah, fuck yeah. I think this is great. I think this is awesome.
And it
Uh,
opens the eyes. It like sheds light on many issues that we have in this country. It's not like okay. What's like the common counter argument against a protest is that the police officers have already been arrested in XYZ. But it's like okay, great, that certain situation has been handled. But now let's think about the future situations. You don't want to just put a band-aid over this. There's like a something deeper to this. You know,
Right.
this is not the root of the problem. We're trying to get to the root of the problem. I mean,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is uh, minorities, black people, Mexicans.
Hmm.
They're targeted more. They're more likely to die to the hands of police officers.
I'm sure there's a stat somewhere that definitely backs that up because hearing you say that, it doesn't sound far from the truth either.
No, like look at our prison system. It's there's more black people in there than like
More people of color.
yeah, more people of color in prisons. There's a
Right.
disproportion, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's what I think about it. The people are complaining, like, oh, police officers are arrested. Give it up, go home. It's like, nah, man. No, they're trying to shed light to everything. The
The prison industry
injustice,
complex is a whole fucking conversation on its own. That shit
but it's
is
connected. It's part of it. It's part of our justice system.
it's modern day slavery, baby.
Um, it's a whole thing like systematic racism.
Yeah.
Uh, fucking it. This what's it called? Um, fucking plantations and slavery still affect people today. Fucking Jim Crow laws still affect people today. I mean, they've just been people of color have been set up to fail.
How so?
Let's see. Well, what popular one is redlining, which is
I haven't heard that.
so back in the days of Jim Crow,
Yeah.
banks and like economists and whatever, they drew
Sure.
lines on a map, lands that they saw value in, like, oh, we can build here for sure. This seems like a nice place, and then there's bad areas, obviously, like, oh, the terrain's bad or whatever.
Sure.
Nothing will grow here. That they would draw red lines around it, which coined the term redlining.
Okay.
And basically, those places they would sell to people of color.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, because Jim people were still racist back in the day. That's why there's Jim Crow laws.
People are still racist today, man.
Even today, right? But the point is, like,
Yeah.
back then, even though
Back then, it was really, really in your face. It wasn't
in
as
your
subtle.
face for sure.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we're gonna just give all this crappy land to people of color.
Right.
We won't give it to people we like white people, XYZ.
Yeah.
And then see, fast forward to today, all those redlinings, even now, I think I saw a video or something. So
Sure.
Chicago on a big map, and then how we do census every year.
Yeah.
There's a big
Yeah.
concentration of people of color within a certain part of Chicago, and it's primarily poor
Okay.
areas, and so yeah, they're just set up to fail. If they live in shitty areas, their school system gets paid through taxes, right? And
Low income jobs on top of that.
yeah, so it's they don't have enough money to put into public programs like school, so they're less likely to succeed, go to college, and find a better job.
Right. Right.
And then on top of that, there's also like implicit racism or implicit bias, I forget what you call it, but
Sure.
we just have these
Precognitions.
precognitions of, like, you see it in like media and stuff like that. Oh, Mexicans are lazy, or whoops, there seems to be an interruption.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
There's like the stereotypes, and it shows, like, there's studies that let's see, like work. So people they did an experiment, a social study, in which 10 white men and 10 black men applied to various companies, right? Some of them had the fucking absolute same qualifications, like they went to the same school, same experience and all that.
Right.
And the white man was more likely to get a call back than the black man.
So they were basing that off of, excuse me,
Just paper.
Right, but what I was
Names,
going to get at,
address,
and addresses. Okay, because that falls in line with redlining. That makes perfect sense. Okay.
and resumes. You know, it's just a resume. They're just looking at the resume. They did another study. They furthered it. They looked at men with. It's harder for a person to get a job if they have a criminal record, right? Right.
Yeah.
So what they end up showing is that white men with criminal records got more calls back than black men without criminal records.
And it's all on the bias that,
It's
they're
just
just
a
white. That's
history.
it.
Yeah, it's a history of just like, oh, we just for some reason we think that a white man will work better than a black man, or
It's
furthermore.
been conditioning for hundreds of years.
Yeah, and then I feel like this is part of the movement in which people are saying, we're trying to break the fucking system. There's this term in sociology called the black veil, right?
Yeah.
It's the way people see the world around them. And what like we're trying to do is like, the system to like people that benefit from it is not broken.
Sure.
Because they have that veil. People are saying, we're not trying to fuck up a good system. The system's fucked up.
Sure.
So we're just trying to remove that veil. We're trying to open up your eyes into the reality, and show you a different perspective of
Just lift up the curtain, right?
Yeah.
And what's very surprising to me is that this isn't it's not some brand new thing that's coming to light. It's been going on forever. It hasn't happened over a short period of time. It hasn't been like in the past 5 years. This has been ongoing since the birth of the nation. So that in mind, it's always been in the back of conversations. It's always been in the back of people's minds, whether consciously or subconsciously, right? Because I'm sure certain people would feel like a real world example.
Yeah.
If someone is walking down the street and they see someone that's black coming from the other side,
Okay.
do they clutch their purse tightly or do they go across the street? And maybe inherently that doesn't mean that they think racist, but maybe it's just kind of a reaction. It's sort of, the conditioning comes into play, which doesn't make it okay. But with that in mind, everybody has known about these topics and these issues, and they've been ongoing. And I've noticed that a lot of people are very uncomfortable having the conversation.
Yeah, people are super because they don't want to change things. They're comfortable where they are. They don't want to have.
Yeah, people that aren't people of color, white people, don't want to change things.
No, they're comfortable. It's just it's the way life has been.
It's a good analogy would be like let's say it's like your older brother is playing Xbox and he gives you a PlayStation remote and he's like, yeah, you can play too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, nah, yeah, like, yeah, you can play for sure. Just, don't touch my Xbox remote. Maybe a shit analogy, but that's the simplest way I can explain it to someone that might be like 5 or something.
Fuck. I'm behind the protests. I really am.
Yeah. No, it's a great change.
I feel kind of like shitty saying it that I haven't been to an actual protest.
Neither have I.
Even locally.
Neither have I.
Just been because I don't know. I justify myself by saying I gotta work. I still have to pay shit off.
Yeah.
The best I could do is just what do you call it? Protest online. Social media protesting. Try to inform others, educate others. Like right now through our podcast.
Yeah, I think it's
talk
I think
about
it's a
it
good
as
platform.
well.
I think it's a good platform to try to educate other people.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea to educate yourself, and that's been the voice of the whole protest, right? Of course, they want to change the lives. They want the message to get across that Black lives do matter. They want to stop, protection of police officers with no repercussions, or quite literally getting away with murder, right?
Yeah, dude.
No repercussions.
There's it happens everywhere.
It happens every day.
Yeah, it happens every day.
What is it? Paid in full? Get shot every day, B.
Yeah.
UBI.
It sucks though that's a reality. Like you have to be okay with a higher power able to fucking kill you without any consequences to them.
Yeah, and let's talk about okay, so popular topic that's this thing has been very popular. Every aspect of the protests
What?
have been very impactful. But how do you feel about defunding the police?
Defunding the police?
Yeah,
Um, from like the way I see it, defunding the police means to just transfer the funds that would go to police into other programs.
sure.
Like, I'm okay with that.
Man, can you hear that?
No, you're
Okay,
good.
go on.
So the way I see it, and the way like it makes sense in my head that if you so you like the funds that would go to police, you transfer that to the education system,
Hmm.
education system or other community projects.
Sure.
If you create a good community and like fucking uh, educate people correctly, crime will or should be lower.
Significantly,
Yeah,
right.
more educated people are less likely to commit like a violent crime.
Yeah, because the
Maybe
thought
a white
process
collar
is,
crime, but
but it won't be as violent.
if it won't
Just
be a
as
violent
heinous,
crime.
but not violent.
Yeah.
So the thought process would be right. Instead of having, so you have minorities living in the ghetto, and they have to resort. They don't have the same opportunities that white people have. So education goes out the window,
So they have to
job
do what
out
they have to do,
the window. Yeah, exactly. So the possibility and the crime rate, it's just, would go up. It doesn't mean that every person in the ghetto is going to resort to a life of crime, but I feel like people of color that don't have the tools that others have would definitely be at higher risk for becoming another police statistic, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
sure.
obvious, you don't give them the tools, they're gonna get it on their own.
Yeah.
It's just people surviving. They do what you
Yeah.
do, what you got to do.
Humans are resilient.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah, they
find
are.
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sorry,
So
you're gonna
yeah, I
say
hear you.
something?
No, 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 no. I'm just agreeing with you. I think it's a good idea to
Defund the police.
definitely put the
Fucking
money somewhere that works.
SF apparently is already pushing something like that. They're letting go. I don't know if they're letting go police officers, but basically there's gonna be less police officers, and they're creating a new group of like quote unquote police officers that are unarmed and it's supposed to be trained in non hostile conditions.
Sure.
It's supposed to, like George Floyd. He got called. They called on him because he had a counterfeit $20 bill, right?
Yeah.
So in that situation, in SF, they wouldn't send an armed police officer. They would send this new kind of police officer with more training in mediation to go handle that.
Okay.
And in other countries, to be a police officer, you need like fucking 2 years of education / training.
Sure.
Here, I think it's what, like 6 weeks,
No, that can't be
and a
right.
high
No
school
way.
diploma.
No way. That can't be right.
I think so. I think
I wish we
so.
had a Jamie. There's so many
Jamie,
times.
Jamie. I feel like it's true. Um, I think that's how it goes. But I'm behind it.
So let me ask you
Or at
this.
least like,
Let me ask you this. I'm all for police reform. I
sure.
think there's a problem with the police. I
Yeah.
This might be controversial. I don't think there's a problem with the law. So what I mean by that is
Oh,
I
you're
think
cutting
fall
out.
law. Oh, sorry. What about now?
Yeah, there you go. Start again.
So essentially, what I was saying was, I don't agree with police misconduct, but I do agree with the law. If that's controversial, then so be it. I feel like laws, sure, there might be some that are outdated, definitely, but for the better part of things, they're what preserve law and order, right? And I agree with you. I think we, compared to other countries where they actually, peacekeepers they go through rigorous training for 2 years and they take the job very seriously, as you should, because you're not policing people, you're upholding the law. You're policing people as a byproduct, but your main focus should be to keep the peace, not to fucking oppress the people. And I feel like it gets slippery sometimes because, there's a lot of variables that go into being a police officer where corruption is a very real problem. Ego tripping is a very real problem.
Yeah.
there are cases where they accidentally and like a legit accident pull out the wrong item. Like instead of getting the taser, they get the gun. So the point I'm trying to make is I think defunding the police and putting the resources into other areas that could use it, like medical or educational or literally anything else that's better for the community, should not downplay the fact that just because if we were to defund and to dump it everywhere else, it doesn't mean that officers should take their work any less lightly. Obviously there has to be a change. The main question I guess I'm asking is what would be the main change if you could, hypothetically, if you could change the way policing works as a whole, what would be the number one thing that you would go for?
Like how, like, well, okay, I'll just say it then. From what my
Sure.
understanding, I would just make it a little harder to become a police officer. The requirements set a little higher,
Yeah.
and then make the job itself be more prestigious. Be like it's like an honor to be a police officer.
Hmm.
You know, and with less police, that should also promote that. Like,
Right.
like you're the
And this is not to take away from the significance of the Black Lives Matter movement, because I think before we start reforming with police, we should definitely focus on taking care of people of color.
just communities in general.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Because I
Honestly,
mean,
yeah.
also there's also poor white people
Yeah, yeah, there is.
that share their housing. They're neighbors to poor black people. They live in a poor black community as well.
Yeah.
So it's also it just entails a lot of things. Like we said, it school, fucking housing, what a fucking what what's the word, resources are around them. Libraries. Is there a park for people to hang out at?
Sure.
Is there does this community live next to an industrial zone? Was there smog and shit that causes bad health for people? Or is there either a liquor store in every corner, or is there a supermarket in every corner? These things.
There definitely has to be a lot of social reform, which
Yeah.
is not going to happen overnight. But I think this is a good first step.
And then media also, those prejudice we talk about,
Yeah,
they get fucking reinforced
dude,
through media, the TV
it's in
shows
the
we
media
watch, the movies we
every day.
watch, news, the way they report things, the way they write shit out. Oh, uh, man gets gunned down violently for assaulting police officer,
Hmm.
and he might have just fucking coughed on him by accident.
COVID.
And it's it's the way everything's portrayed.
A good example of that is, well, media. I feel like I don't want to say it can be useful. I can say this with more
It's a
certainty.
tool.
It's definitely more manipulative than helpful, in my opinion. And here's what I mean by that. So, with all this going on, I've told you this before that for whatever reason, and it's funny to me because it seems like a crazy concept. A lot of people are, whenever the word race war comes up, people are like, people I've talked to at least, because
Oh yeah.
I've said it as a joke before. Because the reason I say it as a joke is because Charles Manson said this shit, and he's fucking bad shit.
Oh yeah.
So I would tell people just like, man, maybe Manson was right about the race war. Again, in all context, sarcastically. And I've had people like reply to me. It's like, yeah, 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 Mike. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, dude. Like, I have to explain to them.
What
It's
the
just like
fuck?
I'm joking. I'm not serious. Like,
They're
we're
fucking
not
ready,
gonna
bro.
we're not gonna go through a race war. And and it
Give you
hasn't
the
only
dead eyes,
yeah. They've given me 1,000-yard stares like they're having hot
licking their
flashbacks
lips
to
and shit.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might happen. And that shit is terrifying, dude. Like, in a normal conversation with someone, that shit, the first time I heard that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, is he agreeing with me joking? Like, I'm not, again, to reiterate, I have to clarify to these people that I'm not being serious. This is what Charles Manson said. And he got this fucking premonition from listening to Helter Skelter by the Beatles. And it's just like, if that doesn't show you how fucking insane that guy is, and if you take the word race war very heavy, then you're a fucking idiot too. You're just as crazy. But
That's fucking wild.
dude,
But it shows. It shows though, right? Even
yeah,
though people don't show it outwardly, it's in their head.
yeah, and uh, I'm still picturing. There was one guy in particular. He just fucking like he stared at not sorry. He didn't stare at me. He
So
stared
through
in me.
me. Oh, in you.
Yeah, yeah, it's coming. It's like holy shit, dude.
Are you gonna be on the wrong side of history or the right? Wait, hold on, brother. Chill. What the
Okay,
fuck?
so before I I digress. What the point I was getting at earlier, going back to media being hurtful,
Yeah.
is because I feel like sometimes they are trying to incite a race war, and maybe this is me putting my tinfoil hat on,
Maybe
but
there's a fucking hand in the shadows controlling everything.
puppeteers, man.
A little fucking dangling.
I would say Illuminati, but they're too overrated. Fucking fuck the Illuminati. So, oh, the example I was going to use, I think I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I think he was using an example of it must have been either Fox or either CNN because they're both trash, and they were saying that police shot down a Latino man, a man of Hispanic descent, and they shot him down in the streets, shot him like a dog, killed him, right? For no fucking reason.
Yeah.
He said that when he did some research, the guy had a gun in his hand and he was fucking like off the rails, but they completely forgot to mention that part. So I think in that case, it doesn't have so much to do with the race of the person as the threat of the situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, but they want to push their agenda to add fuel to Manson's race war, man.
That or just for ratings. I mean, it's just probably it could also be just personal gain. More views. People, it's still a business, right? News companies.
And that's the problem with media. If it's all about the ratings and not about the people are the ones watching the fucking thing. So like whatever they believe, they're like, oh my god, they're right. Holy shit. And then the news is like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're right. Fucking keep watching.
That's the difficult line, huh? Like, how do we
You know
get
the
non-biased news in which money is involved? Government owned? That's already sketchy.
it's
You
the
can't
fucking
have
aura.
Yeah, you can't have government owned media shoot
Fuck
just
no.
fucking propaganda at you. Anyway, I wanted to shift to the actual protests.
Sure, man. Hit me.
Like Chaz. We were just watching a video about Chaz, the fucking.
So Chaz.
What a weird name. At first, I didn't understand what it was. Like Chaz. Why'd you pick Chaz? And then it's an acronym for fucking Capitol Hill Anonymous or fucking autonomous zone. That's crazy, bro. We were just there. We just made up. We just talked about that on our last like 2 videos for the Corona. We were there,
Dude, it all started with Seattle. See, we were never going back to Seattle.
We were there. We were at ground zero, bro.
For 2 fucking events, dude.
For 2
Chaz
events.
and Capitol Hill and fucking COVID it exploded in fucking Seattle.
Yeah, I remember getting dropped off the first night, close to the Rhino, next to that park.
Yeah.
What the hell? Whoa.
What are your thoughts on Chaz?
Chaz, fuck it. People feel some type of way. And let them do whatever the fuck they want. It's their city. Hopefully they're cleaning up after themselves. You can only hope so.
Okay, so what do you think of a small autonomous zone within a major city? Do you think the promises are going to yield good results?
I mean, I would wish that they instead fix the city that's already in place instead of trying to create their own. Because that's the hard part, starting up. Like, Seattle's already built,
Yeah.
You could try to shift your energy and resources towards getting the people you actually want to get elected, get people that you want elected, get them on the board, get them on your school board, get them in your neighborhood watch, instead of taking over a block, and then not having a central form of leadership,
Check.
fucking struggling with resources, no way of cops are
They're not
needed.
allowed. They're not allowed. That's
No, I
like
mean
the
like
point they're trying to drive.
I don't know how would you call them within within the zone, like people to
You don't.
mediators basically. There's no
No, so the
mediators.
main thing is they want it's a cop free zone. That's what where the autonomous comes in.
That's the hard part of it. Like from my philosophical view,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work because anarchy in sense is cool and all, but
It's cool
people
on paper,
it's
dude.
cool on paper, but people's feelings, like some people's feelings are gonna get hurt. You know,
Some
emotions are.
people are going to get hurt,
Yeah, some
period.
people are gonna get hurt because their emotions are hurt.
Yeah.
They're gonna feel some type of way. You know, someone's gonna steal some shit from them. Yeah, but also that's another part of it too. Like, oh, we don't support capitalism, XYZ, it's socialism. In paper, it sounds good. It's hard in practice.
Historically, it's never worked. I mean, so the one of the main problems with the Chaz area is that for the most part, it's very Antifa backed. So Antifa,
Fucking Antifa, bro.
they fucking
They
live
try
for
to
this shit.
hijack the Black Lives Matter movement. They just.
Look what they're doing with the Chaz.
I feel like in the back of my head, you know, when they first started protesting and the looters and all that, I feel like Antifa was behind the initiation of looting.
Yeah.
I just feel
Well,
like they're
no,
just trying to hijack a movement.
I feel like they definitely were involved, but I feel like majority of it was just opportunists, people that hid under the mask of the movement to do whatever they wanted. Just pure anarchy, right? It's just like, oh hell yeah, now I can get this fucking TV and now I can get these new shoes and now I can go for these AirPods.
And like, yeah, we should be able to separate, you know, looters and protesters. You know,
But like you said, there's no real leadership, so it's hard to have an example or a role model to follow.
true.
So
This is why Martin Luther King is just glorified because he was a good leader. He was very, you know, you need one. Unfortunately,
yeah,
you
yeah.
need one.
But the leader could be in the eyes of the beholder, right? King was very peaceful and he was all about the nonviolence. Malcolm X was all about the fucking action. So it's easy
But he's
to
not glorified. Well, I mean, at
no,
least like he's not like.
depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
Antifa
depends. Yeah,
probably,
it depends on who you ask, right? Yeah, true.
but the main point is that they were leaders in movements that had very clear motions. So it's like you say, you could definitely either be one of the peaceful protesters marching for justice of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Oscar Grant, all these people that have gone down for no real reason and there has been no justice for them. The people that are crusading for justice for unwanted deaths of people that didn't have to die. Or you could and then on the other end of the coin, you've got someone that just wants fucking sporadic change by just being a radical anarchist.
Yeah. So the difference, the way I see it is though, is that okay, okay, go ahead, fucking flip over trucks, throw Molotovs, right?
Sure.
But once you start stealing, it's kind of like, are you really doing it for the movement, or is this just personal gain? Feel me?
It's funny you say that because you'd
Like,
think like
okay,
throwing Molotovs would be where they draw the line, but just like, oh, you didn't pay for that, bro.
like go ahead, fucking deface government property and XYZ, but you're gonna attack a business like a mom and pop shop that had nothing to do with this. They're just part of the system.
Like, you fools are just shooting yourself in the foot.
It's a thin line. Like okay, King was trying to work with the system and change the system. Malcolm X was trying to fucking topple it. Yeah, kill every white man. that's fucking radical.
You mean that in the literal sense or the slang sense?
No, the literal sense.
I know. Okay.
That's rad, bro. Premeditated murder? Fuck yeah.
All right.
Domestic terrorism? Behind that.
So, with all this going on, let's talk about one of the people that actually has the power to change things about it.
What?
Donnie Trump, boy.
You don't give a fuck.
He does not.
He's just trying to just get elected for another term. He's trying to put his name in the fucking history books.
He's definitely in the history books. Just not for the right reasons.
I don't know, dude.
Oh, one of the things that I
He
saw that.
perpetrates the prejudices. He'll
Oh
be
my
like,
God, yeah,
he'll
100%.
he called I forgot what he called a big like a large movement of white protesters, predominantly white protesters. He called them
Sure.
peaceful protesting, and then these
Yeah,
recent
right. The fucking Proud Boys walking around with rifles. Fuck you.
and then the recent Black Lives Matter movement protests. He called them, what I forget what he called it, hooligans or some shit, some outdated word.
Man, fucking this guy's Twitter has the potential to start anything in it. What's that? Donald Trump's Twitter is Murphy's Law.
Which is
Anything and everything that can go wrong will.
he's just stirring up shit.
That's what I'm saying. His Twitter is just Murphy's Law. Fucking, freedom of speech, hell yeah, but fuck, dude, you suck at it. Like, have some responsibility for what you say. One of the things I saw, one of the protests that was most impactful to me was when the Black Lives Matter protest marched right up to the fucking White House, bro. Right the fuck up, and they're like, "Hey, fucking, you want to ignore us? We'll come to you. It doesn't matter."
That's good,
Yeah, dude.
get your
Fuck
voice
yeah, it's
heard.
good.
Not just trying to make action.
Yeah,
I
swarm.
don't like personally. I'm not sure what's the right move. I don't know if we should fucking topple everything or
No, no.
try to fix things. Try to like bend stuff.
Definitely try to bend things, but I don't think start from the ground up.
Because
A good example.
bending is gonna be a long. It's gonna. I think it's gonna be a long road before we just get rid of prejudices and all that
It's gonna be a longer
in
road
this
building shit
country,
from scratch, man.
at least within our country. Because then there's gonna be prejudice against other countries. We'll just that's a whole nother matter. Right now we're talking about prejudice within amongst our neighbors and all that.
Yeah, yeah, okay, I heard that.
For a second, I was always all about that fucking topple everything, bruh. That foundation you have, it's coming down, bruh. We're breaking it. We're gonna build it right back up. Bam, 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 bam.
I used to think like that too. I think sophomore year when I watched V for Vendetta, I was like, my God, I couldn't make a change. Watching a
Or
fucking
fucking Fight Club.
revolution, a fucking movie about revolution in the UK. I'm like, my God,
I
yes.
remember watching Fight Club. We must detonate all banks. We must erase all debts and restart
Dude,
anew.
Pixies is a badass band. Fuck yeah, dude. My man sold soap, and dudes were like, "Yeah, this guy gets it."
Shit, dude.
So, do you think it's fair to say we're witnessing a modern revolution?
Um, yeah, I hope so. I mean, we're seeing some reform.
Yeah.
Especially like here in California, there's a lot of reform. Now we just gotta wait for other cities to just catch on. I hope it has just died down.
I don't see that being a possibility until okay, you know what? So I thought when what was it? It was four or three officers that killed Floyd.
Well,
One
there
killed
was
him,
four
three
there was
abetted.
four involved. One had the knee on the guy. The other one
Yeah,
was standing in front of the people recording, telling him to back up, and the other two were around the corner behind uh, the vehicle.
right.
One was on top of his legs, and the other, I think, was just standing there.
So they arrested him and they charged him with murder, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think it's second degree.
So, in that case, legally speaking, justice was served there, right? He
Yeah,
was tried, he was convicted, but if I'm not mistaken, he made bail.
I don't know,
Hmm.
but
Uh,
okay. Well, you think you read it somewhere? You think you saw that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let me double check it.
Well, let's say he did make bail. What were you gonna say?
Well, if he made bail, do me a favor, could you look it up while I?
I can't. I'm recording.
Oh, well, fuck it. If he made bail, is that still part of the justice system? He was tried and he was found guilty. Justice is served, but he can make bail. Is that still justice?
It's part of the. It's part of. Yeah, I mean, legally speaking, yeah, he was following the law.
So I
But
think
we know for sure that he's gonna get convicted because of the evidence.
Right. Which he did, didn't he? He got tried.
I don't know. I think
Well,
he's guilty.
yeah. Okay. So with, let's say, best case, he gets thrown in jail for life, right? Because obviously we don't know the fucking facts.
Sure.
So he gets thrown in jail. The movement should and will not stop there because George Floyd has been turned into a martyr of the people, for lack of a better word, I feel like. Because I know traditionally a martyr is someone that dies for a cause they believe in and their message lives on. But he wasn't a martyr. He wasn't the guy out there leading the crusades, just like, we need to reform. We need to. So actually, now that I think about it, I don't
Well,
want to say a symbol. He became a symbol. There we go.
yeah. Her, the recent one, Brianna, and some other
Taylor.
people. Yeah, Brianna
Yeah.
Taylor, and then some other people. Yeah, man. It's like we talked about earlier. It's just uncovering the injustices within the whole system itself. Systematic racism.
Yeah.
All the things that are like they're calling out the medical system. In the fucking medical field, the study showed that medical professionals believe that black people felt pain differently from white people. They
Is
felt.
this like from the 1950s or something?
I forgot how late it is, but
That sounds like something some fucking idiot in the 1950s would say. Remember they used to allow people to smoke cigarettes on an airplane?
yeah.
They used to tell pregnant women to smoke. So, yeah, I'd chalk that up to fucking the thought process of some fucking doctor from the 50s.
But it was a
Well, if
thing.
you
It was a
see here,
fucking
the
thing.
the average black man doesn't feel the same type of pain that good old Chip here does.
Also, statistically speaking, pregnant black women die more often than pregnant white women during childbirth,
I wonder why that is.
and that could be also due to just like I said, the city, the environment, like that
Yeah.
a poorer community that has a hospital within a poorer community is going to get less funds, which would mean equals less like poorly paid staff and poor equipment. It is what it
Yeah.
is. It's part of the Black Lives Matter protest. It's not that Black Lives matter more. It's just they matter as well.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are falling through the cracks, and we're neglecting to see them. We're like that doesn't really matter. Who like they wouldn't be poor if they put more effort into it. All that shit. That's the way I see it.
Into resources to help better the communities, of course. But
Have you seen in the news? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna change subject if you're gonna add
Nah,
to
hit
it.
me, man, hit me.
Do you see the thing about police officers getting their food poisoned?
What?
Yeah. So
No
there's
way.
like, I forgot. It was like some Midwest country,
Yeah.
county. Some police officers said they went to go eat. They sat down, ate at a business. As soon as the Corona thing, the policy went down,
Yeah.
that they got poisoned. They claimed it. Ended up being false. Yeah, like what the fuck?
Ah,
What the fuck? And then
who the fuck lies about something like
yeah, and
that?
then recently, like today or yesterday, they showed up video of this woman police officer.
Yeah.
Rasputin. I don't know why that came to my mind. Uh, they showed a fucking. There's a video of this woman police officer breaking down.
At the McDonald's?
Like she was in the drive-through and she was talking about it, and they're like, I
Yep.
pulled up, and the worker said, "Okay, remind me which was your order," and I repeated my order, and then she asked me if I can park up because my order wasn't ready yet, so I parked up, and I'm getting worried, and then one of the workers comes out with my drink. I ordered a McMuffin, a hash brown and a McMuffin and a coffee, and she only comes out with my coffee. And at that point, I tell her, I don't want it. I don't want my food anymore. And then she starts breaking down and saying that I'm fearing for my life. That I'm fearing for my fucking, like, somebody's gonna poison me.
Oh my God. The act of passive aggressiveness is enough to tip this person over.
And
But
huh?
one thing to take into account, obviously, people are definitely going through stressful times. Imagine how much it sucks to be a good cop right now.
Fuck, shitty.
Dude, imagine like
You're getting stares and shit.
you're a hometown hero. You do everything by the book. You have the community's intentions at heart. You're fucking fourth generation police officer. You care about people, and it's literally fuck you from every which direction. Like people are scared of them right now. Scared, angry, confused. People have the whole range of emotions towards cops these days. And it's fucking weird, man. Like I when I drive around town, like going to work, go run an errand, whatever. Um, I see like cops driving by, and I shit you not, when I see them drive by, there is at least like three squad cars rolling together these days. Like there's always like groups of cars, like normally when you
Dude.
see like big groups of cars, they're like zooming to get somewhere, but
Yeah.
these guys are just like cruising around town, but not alone.
Yeah, they're trying to stay safe amongst each other.
Isn't that some shit?
I feel about okay. Also, another thing, talk about police. I also read that most, you can make a call to the police office saying, there's a cop, kind of like rate their police officers, make a complaint, right? A lot of complaints come from other police officers. Like there's people willing, like people within the system that want to make a good system, right? But I feel like there's more people that just don't care. It's not that like there's racism within, like they're being like outwardly racist. It's just they don't really care. They just care about like I'm comfortable where I'm at, and I don't want shit to change. I think there's more people like that than outward racists. Just don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, whatever. Just another black guy I'm arresting because he's selling drugs. I don't give a fuck about a situation.
Right.
I think there's more of them than like good cops that say, oh, why are you selling drugs, kid? Here's you want to sign up for this program that we offer and shit like that. There's cops like
Yeah,
that.
which man, Jesus Christ. That'll be the fucking day, dude. Like, but it's like anything in life. It's always gonna be tricky. If you catch a kid selling or smoking weed, or maybe he's having one beer, right? A kid at the park having a beer. Like, all right, kid, fucking, you got to do community service, or you got to go volunteer at the YMCA or something like that. But when you come across someone that's selling very heavy drugs like heroin, like meth, that can really potentially do damage to people, or selling illegal firearms, there have to be repercussions, and you have to be able to clearly tell. Like, there's some people that I don't want to say they're beyond helping, but you can't tell the person selling fucking ghost guns to kids at the park, well, if you go down to the YMCA and if you promise to stop selling guns, like, nah, dude, there got to be some ramifications for that shit. But I hear you. I hear that the situations just have to be diffused differently, but each situation is unique in its own way, right?
Yeah. Well, um, let's wrap this up. We
Yeah.
talked for a cool minute. This is
What are we at?
uh, 50 minutes.
No shit.
Yeah, man.
I'm. You know what? Part two.
Sure. Part two.
But
Uh, anyways, I'll try to make my part. Do more videos like this. Bring more awareness to situations.
yeah,
Get a little
definitely.
bit more educated on the subject, obviously.
Our we don't have a huge platform, and we don't have an incredible amount of we don't have a huge following, but it doesn't mean that we don't support. Fucking hell yeah, Black Lives Matter. Change shit, make it better, go big or go home, man. Fucking stop killing everybody.
All right. See y'all next time.